Hey there, crafty friends. It's Tina the Scrappin Rabbit, and it's time for another release over at 7 Kids Craft Store. In this release, there are 6 new stamp sets. They are so cute. There are 3 little angel sets, and then 3 sets that have a Christmas theme, winter Christmas theme. I also want to let you know that there is going to be a giveaway. Callie is giving away a stamp set called Spectacular from Whimsy. In order to enter into this giveaway, make sure that you like and leave a comment on my channel here, as well as the other YouTubers on the design team. And Marla from Mad About Cards and Crafts will be announcing the winner on October 19th, and you have until October 16th to leave your comment. Also, there is a contest over at the 7 Kids Customers Create page on Facebook, and it is a Halloween theme, and it's going to run from October 1st to 31st, and there will be a prize. So make sure you head on over to Facebook to find out more about that. Now this stamp set here, Christmas Kids, this is the one I'm going to be playing with today, and it features these little adorable kids. You've got the sentiments, let's chill, and sparkle all the way, and they have little hats, just so cute. So let me go ahead and share with you what I made. So first of all, before I stamp my images, I'm going to prep my paper using some of my anti-static tool and using VersaFine black ink. I'll ink up those images and get them onto my cardstock. I use clear embossing powder, and I just love the way that that looks. Gives it that extra 3D type of an effect. And then after heating up my heat tool for a few seconds, I'll go ahead and melt that embossing powder. You always want to make sure you do a good job, because especially if you're coloring with Copics, you don't want to have any smudges on your markers. So here you can see I stamped up several images from a couple of the different sets, because I have a little plan for my little scene that I'm going to create today. So coloring the face, I'm going to use my Copic markers, starting with the E11. I'll do a little outline for shadow. Then I'll blend that out with the E00. And then I'll add those little cheeks using the R21, and then blend out again with the E000. I got to remember to get those hands and the neck in there. Then I'll go in with my darkest color, which will be the E04, and that's going to give the darkest shadows. I'll blend that out with the E11, and then going in that same order, the E00, and then the E000, and finally the E0000 for the center highlight for her little face. Once I have the skin done, I'll go ahead and start working on her outfit. I wasn't sure which colors to use at first, and I started off with the R37, and I'm blending out with the R24. Then I get the R14 and change my mind, thinking I don't really like that. So I'll use the R32 as my lightest color instead. Now I'm just going over with the second layer of the color R37, blending out with the R24, and then again the R32. Now I want to go in and layer the color because I didn't feel like there was enough contrast in there, so I'm using the darkest color is the R59. And there I finally feel like I'm getting the red that I want in this combination to represent a little Santa suit there. So that R32 is the lightest color, and then once I have that blended out, I'll go ahead and do the same color combination with the pants, starting with the R37, the R24, the R32, and then coming in with my darkest shade, the R59. Once I get those all blended out, I'll be done with her little outfit. There are these cute little boots, and so I wanted to do them black, so I'm going to use my tea grays, my tonal grays, and the colors for my blend for the boots are T7, T5, T3, and T0. So I do start with the T5, the T3, and then T0. Then I'm going to go in with the dark T7, blend it out with the T5, the T3, and the T0. These boots are so tiny, so you don't have to do too much work here. I just like to have a little bit of a contrast, and I'm basically putting down little dots of color because they're so tiny. Finishing up her boots, then I can move on to her hair. For her hair blend, I'm going to start with an E37, and then I'll blend that out with the E35. The lightest color for this blend is going to be the E31, and I'll just bring the color towards the center of the hair where there'll be that highlight area. The hair is kind of small, so it's pretty easy to color and it goes pretty quick. For my dark color, I'm using the E29 for the darkest to give me that contrast. Now I'll go ahead and blend that out again with the E37, the E35, and then finally the E31. And then it gives you a nice contrast, and then it makes your hair look like it has little highlights in it. For her little belt and collar, I decided to go white with that, and I'm just going to use a Jelly Roll pen because the area is super tiny. Can't forget her little mouth, and then her eyes. I'm using some YG67 and then some YG63. Moving on to the trees, I was trying to pick out which greens I wanted to use, and so I decided to go with the G46 for my medium color, blend that out with the G24, and then my lightest color being the G12, and I'm just in flicking motion going from the bottom of each branch up towards the top of the tree. For more contrast, I use the G29, and that's going to help give it a little bit more life, a little bit more depth. And sometimes you go from dark to light, top down, and I'm kind of going from the bottom up and just flicking up. And I like the way that the tree turned out. Now I colored several of them, and then for the trunk of the tree I used my E40s, so the E44 blending out with the E43 and then blending out with the E42. And I'm not going to worry about the pots because I'm not going to use them in my little scene. Here are the cute little kids all colored up, and I used my ScanNCut to cut out all of these images. So I have some for later and some for this card today. And for my card base, I'm going to use that scallop layer from the Mama Elephant window dressings, that die set, using my distress inks in Tumbled Glass, Broken China, Peacock Feathers, and Salty Ocean. I started out going for a light blend, and I decided that I was going to go ahead and blend from the center up, since I'm visualizing that at this point in time the bottom half of my card is going to be a snow layer. So going in with a little bit of a light blend, not sure exactly how I wanted the sky to turn out. I was imagining it to be pretty pale blue, but then as I got going and as I added more color, I was liking the richer color. And with the peacock feathers really brought that color to life. So going there with that third layer there, blending it all out, making sure it's nice and smooth, and then going back with the broken china over the peacock feathers. So it's always amazing to me how beautiful the ink blends are after you go through by the third time layering it. I mean, you can stop with the first time through and have that nice light blend, but then I was adding that darker color there, the Salty Ocean, and I just decided that once I get that layered on there, I was going to go over one more time to add even more color to the sky, because I wanted that snowy winter sky look, and I really like how this turned out. And I've been really enjoying playing with my distress inks, having so much fun playing with new blends and then just experimenting with different colors. So finally going through with the lightest color, the Tumbled Glass, now I have the sky look that I was looking for. I'm going to go ahead and splatter it with some water because I absolutely love the way that that looks when you lift that color up and off. It makes it really come to life. Using some acrylic white paint and my water and a paintbrush, I'm going to go ahead and flick some of that to make some snow. I really haven't found an alternative to the acrylic paint. I really feel like that gives you the closest look to the little white specks for stars or for snow, and I just really like the way that that looks. Now I'm getting some of the images that I colored, and I want to add a little bit of snow to them, so I figured now would be the good time to do it before I attach those hats to the faces and all of that. It's always nice when you can plan ahead. It doesn't always work that way, but in this case I was able to add the little specks of snow before I put my little images together. Now for the snow, I used this little landscape piece from the Mama Elephant Slim Card Basics, and then I also cut it out with the scalloped layer so that it would match up with my frame. So here you see I have a little wonky piece, but I'm not too worried about it because that one's actually going to be in the very back, and I'm just trying to make some little snowbanks there to have it come together as a scene. And then also layering those up together is going to give me a little bit of dimension on my card as well. So I'm making a mess with this wet glue. I have it all over my fingers. And then when I go to glue that last piece there, I forget that my snowbank is not being covered there on the right, and I put glue right across that. So of course I had to wipe that off with my finger, and I made a big old mess. But then that is what you have your little glue eraser for, and luckily I was able to find that, and as soon as the glue dried, I could go ahead and rub off that glue and it came right off. So now that I have that all cleaned up and my fingers are cleaned up, I can go ahead and adhere that to my card base. And I'm not gluing at the very top because I know that I'm going to want to tuck those trees in there, so I'm leaving that open so that I can lift it up a little bit. So now I have my snowbank, and I'll just smooth that out with my bone folder, make sure that that glue is nice and flat. So centering the large tree, I'm trying to figure out how to get it in there. And so now that I finally have it in there, I'm just imagining the little kids with their hats. So now I didn't like that the little white area under the hat, so I decided that I was going to fussy cut that out using my scissors so that it kind of gave a masked stamping look. And so that's something that you can do if you don't want to mess with the masking. You can always just cut off one portion of the white trim, and then it gives the illusion that you masked that hat on there, and it goes by a lot quicker than actually doing the masking. So now I was able to adhere those little hats without that little white trim there, and it really looked so cute, just as if I had masked it and stamped it exactly like that. Now that I have my little girls dressed up, it's just a matter of putting it all together and figuring out where it's all going to go. And this is about the time when I realized, I forgot to stamp my sentiment. So I thought usually it's better to stamp before you start putting your card together. That way you know that your layers are going to be flat and your stamp will go on there nice and flat. Luckily it was pretty flat, and using my stamp tool I was able to go ahead and stamp that sentiment, peace, love, and joy, and get my VersaFine ink on there and get it heat embossed. So just like I did with the images, I'll go ahead and use my stamp tool, the clear embossing powder, and then after heating up my heat tool for a few seconds, I could get that melted on there. Okay, so now, got my sentiment on there. Now it's time to just go ahead and glue everything on. So I'm tucking those trees on those little hill banks and pushing them down. And I love that the snow is already splattered on there, so I don't have to worry about getting it on the little faces of my kids and making a big old mess like I've done in past projects. So now I'm figuring out where everybody's going to go. I decided to go ahead and get some double-sided foam adhesive so that I could pop up these little kids to really give it some even more dimension, like they're standing in front of the tree. And of course I had to color up those little bunnies and that little squirrel. Super duper cute. I'm just gluing some ornaments to the back side of her hand, and now that I have her put together, I can glue her onto my card, and then again adding a little glue to that ornament, gluing it to her hand so it looks like she's hanging that on there, and just popping up some more of those little ornaments that I colored, the little candy cane and some of the balls, and it's really starting to come to life. A pretty simple card, but then making a nice little scene with lots and lots of colored images. I do like to add a few drops of glue on my double-sided adhesive just for extra stickiness there. And I just don't know how long that double-sided tape holds, where I know liquid glue does a good job and it will last for a really long time. So now I'm just popping up my little bunny there and the last little piece there to glue down. And that is pretty much my top layer. So now I just got to adhere it to my slimline card base. And again, using the liquid glue, this top panel is a little on the heavy side and I want to make sure that it's on there nice and secure. To add some finishing touches, I'm using some Nouveau glitter markers and adding a little bit of glitter there. And then I also have this sparkly Nouveau to trim the snow with. And it's always a good idea for that to be the last thing that you do, so that way you can let it dry and you don't end up sticking your hand in it and having it smear and smudge. And ask me how I know about that. So that is the finishing touch there for my card. And you can see the shimmer and the shine, and I really like how that turned out. Just to add extra shimmer, because you know I love extra sparkle, I had to use my sparkle marker. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I really hope that you will check out the 7 Kids Craft Store new release, and make sure you leave a comment to be entered into the giveaway, and don't forget to click on the links in the description box below so you can check out all the other design teams projects. Thanks again for stopping by, everyone. Have a great day. Until next time, bye for now.